Welcome back. This is the video you've probably all been waiting for, which is actually how to run the beer game using the placemat and all the other materials. So let's just get down to it. As you can see at the top of the screen, these are the sequence of events that's going to be standard for every turn of the beer game. So you've got your teams situated amongst the placemat, either on both sides of the table or on opposite sides of the table. Everyone's got inventory to start out with. In this example, everyone's got 6, but that really doesn't matter. You can make it anything you want to. I made it 6 because the lower the number of the inventory, the quicker everyone else gets into the game. So to get things started, you're going to have everyone place an order before week 0 of 0. Now, this is a little bit awkward, but it gets everyone in the habit of either placing an order or thinking about what they need to order. So this is really just to get people in the position so that for week 1, they do have an order to move upstream, which is what we're going to do. Starting out week 1, everyone's going to turn that order over and then slide it upstream. So it moves from the placed box to the incoming box. And again, that's all at once. It's important to remember that movements in this game, when we move orders and we move products, it all happens at once. It's not the retailer moves his or the distributor moves his. It's everybody doing it at once when you take them through it as the facilitator. The next thing will be to move product downstream, but there is no product to move downstream because no one has ordered anything yet. Now, this next step is pretty critical, so let's slow down and talk about this. You as the facilitator are going to give the retailer a demand card, and only the retailer will be able to see this. In this example, the retailer receives a demand order of 6. At the same time, and that's this piece, retail receives new demand. At the same time, everyone else is going to receive their incoming order, and that means they turn this number over, this yellow sticky over. And in this instance, they see that it's 0. The next step would be to receive product from upstream and update the inventory. Now, as we said, there's no product moving from upstream, so there's nothing to receive, and updating the inventory would involve the spreadsheet, which we're not going to talk about in this video just to ease into this. But that's really where you're cueing everybody to go to their spreadsheet and update their data. And at this point, this is the decision, which is to fill the order, and if they can, how much. Now, in this example, the only person that has to decide this is the retail team. They had an order of 6, and they have an inventory of 6, and so they're going to fill that order completely. Everyone else doesn't have an order to fill. And the last step of the turn is to place an order for the next week. Now, the retailer is going to place an order of 6. Everyone else isn't going to place an order, or they're going to place an order of 0. But it's important to remember that they could place an order of non-zero. It's up to them. Remember, and this is what you have to stress as a facilitator throughout the game, the objective of the game is to maximize demand satisfaction while minimizing cost. Cost being defined as 2 things. One is the items of inventory on hand, which is 0.5 per item. And 2, the cost of back orders, which is 1 per item on back order. So it's that total that determines the cost. So in this example, everyone else placed a new order of 0. So that ends week 1. And we're going to move on to week 2. So we moved orders upstream. You saw that movement of the orders. Everyone moved at the same time. And there's no product to move downstream. The retailer receives the new demand for this turn. Only they can see it. That's 6 in this example. And everyone else flips their incoming order over. There's no product to move from upstream, and the decision to fill the order. Now, you see here that the retailer can't fill the order. of 6 because they have nothing on inventory. So they're going to have a back order that they're going to record. You saw this item here move from the distributor into distribution. So the retailer received 6, and they're going to fill that 6, and they fill that 6 by putting it into this truck here. As we talked about in last video, each one of these trucks represents 1 week of lead time. So the next turn will consume 1 week, and then it will be available in the second week. No one else has an order to fill, 0 and 0, and so we end the turn, everyone places a new order. Now the retailer shorted their customer 6, so they're going to place an order of 6. The distributor needs 6 because they depleted their inventory. Again, these are just example numbers. The distributor could place an order of 10 because they don't know what demand is. The retailer could place an order of 20. That's all up to the members of the game. So these aren't directed numbers. These are just example numbers for you to understand the flow. And again, as we place those orders, those are all face down. Moving on to week 3, again, we move those orders upstream, and we're going to move product downstream. So you are going to see this product here, down here for the distributor. You're going to see that move into this truck right here, and it moves. Retailer receives the new demand, and everyone else reviews their incoming order. So you, as the facilitator, give the retailer the demand card. Everyone else turns their orders over. Now you see the distributor's got an order of 6, and the wholesaler's got an order of 6. Manufacturer, no order yet. So everyone's got before we do that, we receive the product from upstream. Of course, there isn't any product this turn that anyone receives. And now we decide what we can fill. So the retailer, again, shorted their customer 6. They can't fill anything. They have nothing on inventory. Same thing for the distributor. Nothing on inventory. Now you saw this product move for the wholesaler from here to here. That was because they had 6 on inventory. They received an order of 6, and so they're going to move that into the distribution pipeline. And we decide what our order is going to be for the next turn. Again, example numbers: 6 from the retailer, 6 from the distributor, and 6 from the wholesaler, but it could be numbers higher than this. Shouldn't be numbers less than this because they shorted the customer, and then the retailer has a certain amount on back order now. But we won't worry too much about those numbers. Again, we'll get into the actual numbers and data capture in our next video series. And again, those numbers are all placed down. Beginning week 4, we're going to shift those orders upstream, and we're going to move product downstream. So you saw the product move here and the retailer into the retailer. And the retailer's going to get their new demand. Now, somewhere in here, you want to increase demand. And the point of this is not necessarily to induce what we call the bullwhip effect, but you just want to change demand slightly, really just to see what everyone else does. So at this point, not at this point, but pretty soon everyone, quote, is going to be into the game. And so we'll see with that demand increase how everybody reacts to this. Retailer receives the demand. In this example is 8. Everyone else flips their card over. Wholesaler's got an order of 6. Manufacturer still has an order of 0. Of course, manufacturer, again, like everyone else, could have made the decision to go ahead and manufacture anyway. They have to carry the cost of that inventory, but it's their decision. Receive product from downstream. And this would be seeing what they got. Retailer received 6 items, and so making the decision to fill the order. Now, the retailer has to exhaust their inventory because they only have 6 on hand, and they had an order of 8. And the wholesaler wasn't able to fill any of this because they had already depleted their inventory. Manufacturer went ahead and issued 6. And so everyone places a new order for the next turn. Numbers are what they are. They could be higher. Because the manufacturer depleted their inventory, they're going to go ahead and put in a production request. In this example, it's exactly for what they issued, but it could be higher. And again, those orders are face down. The production request doesn't really need to be face down because it's internal to the manufacturer. And it's important that you spend some time here explaining to the manufacturer how this is going to work so they don't get confused actually as the game is going on. And finally, our last week that we're going to cover in this example, we moved those orders upstream. We moved our product downstream. Retailer receives the new demand. I would recommend, again, that once you change demand, that you keep it constant. You only want to change it slightly just to see how everybody reacts, remembering that the retailer is the only one that can see this demand. So later on, when you conduct an after-action review with the members of the game about how this went and what they thought was going on, they may be surprised to see that demand changed slightly and then stayed constant. Their perception might be that it changed all over the place or that it changed wildly, it wildly increased. So you really don't want to change demand too much and do much with it. Everyone else receives their incoming order, as we've talked about, and then receives the product from upstream, updates their inventory, makes the decision to fill the order, and then ends the turn by placing a new order. And here we see some higher numbers because the retailer has lost faith in the supply chain and those kind of things. And again, those orders are face down. And so where do you go from here? Well, at this point, hopefully, I've eased you into the mechanics of the game, how things move, what you should be looking for, and how you should be guiding the members of the team. And I would recommend that for these first 5 turns, you take it very slowly, very deliberately, because slow is fast, and the faster you go, the more people will make mistakes and they'll record the wrong data. And once you record the wrong data, or even worse, if they don't record data at all, and once you're in that position, you don't really have anything you can analyze, and it makes it much, much more difficult to conduct an after-action review and get people talking about and reflecting on what was happening. So, where you want to go from here? Well, I would recommend that we've done 5 weeks. You do at least 15 to 20 more additional weeks. The teams will get into the rhythm, so you'll always need to cue them and say, Week 5, go ahead and move orders upstream and move product downstream, but they'll be able to go through the rest of the process on their own. Finally, once that's done, you'll want to compile and analyze all the data you collected and then lead the after-action discussion, which the next series, Series 3, will talk about how you compile the data using the spreadsheet. Series 4 will talk about how to analyze the data. And then Series 5 will talk about how to conduct that after-action discussion. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and just write down your feedback. What did I miss? What are your experiences running the game? And how might this video help you? See you next time.